Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, John. Now, Diana Y. looks a little different today. She is now John Bellum for our inspiration.
So there's a story behind this, as there always is. So I looked over at Dan and
Is there a microphone in your hand?
Oh, yeah, sorry. No, there isn't, sir. So really quick story. There was one last job duty last week, and it was invocation. Diana was sitting next to me, and I said, Diana, I handed her, I said, you always give the best invocations. And she's like, thank you. And then she looks down and sees that there's one last thing for her to sign up for. So she did it. But then she emailed me last night and said, I'm going to be on a plane to Hawaii. So, John, John, I'm going to email you this invocation. So this has been emailed in, and I'm going to read it for her. And here's what she's got. What kind of impact are you making in your life? What are you doing to make a mark during your lifetime? Success isn't just about what you accomplish in your life. It's about what you inspire others to do. If you have the ability to impact and inspire at least one person, then that person will impact and inspire someone else. The amount of people who will be positively impacted will continue to increase due to your ability to make a difference in just one individual. Creating inspiration should be one of your main goals in life. Thank you, Diana.
Beautiful. Great. Thank you, John, for reading Diana's inspiration. Will you please take your seats? Rotary Minute. Karen Fleck.
Hello.
Hi, Karen.
Hi. Okay, so Rotary Minute. So for all of those overachievers in this group who aspire to greatness, and maybe this will inspire to greatness, you know who you are. There is a path to the presidency of Rotary. So Rotary has 1.2 million members every year, and one of them becomes president. Everybody takes their own path, but there are some universal requirements that boil down to these basics. You have to be a club president. Club president is the club president for a one-year term. We all know that, right? District governor is also a one-year term. A nominee for district governor must have been a Rotarian for at least 7 years and have served as club president. Rotary International Director, a nominating committee of past governors from each district in the zone interview candidates and select a representative, and they serve a 2-year term. Rotary International President. Every year, half of Rotary's zones get to select Rotary's president through their representatives on a 17-member presidential nominating committee, and the zones alternate every year. Only past Rotary International directors are eligible to serve as president, and most presidents have held additional leadership roles, including serving on committees that offer international experience, and the term is for 1 year. Presidents choose their vice president and treasurer from among the second-year Rotary directors. That ought to inspire you.
Diana is not here, but we will put her up for bid on that one. Thank you so much, Karen, for that. It's good information to know. I want to thank everyone who is volunteering today with our meeting. Set up Tom Buck, take down John Wexler. Phil. Okay. Thanks, Phil. We appreciate you. Greeter, Kathy Smith. It's awesome to see you here. Inspiration, John Bellum via Diana Y, or Diana Y via John Bellum, however you want to say that. And pledge, John Holtzman, thank you so much. Do we have any visiting Rotarians today? Oh, okay.
He's not a visitor.
There's trouble.
Use the microphone.
As uncomfortable as I am speaking in front of people. Madam President, Randy Pote,
Oh, hi, Randy.
past president 2010-11. As long as I've got the floor. First off, I love coming here. It has been so much fun to watch this club absolutely blow up and just blossom into a phenomenal Rotary club. You were speaking about zone. September first week in September, Zone will be here in one of the hotels in Denver Tech Center. This is the first year that we will be more than just Zone 25 and 26, because due to lack of membership 2 years ago, the United States lost 2 zones. So Zone Institute membership in the States suck. So instead of just 25, 26, which is the West Coast, it will now add parts of 27. And so Zone Institute NATS, which is Governor Nominee Advanced Training and Governor-Elect Training, will be right here in the Denver Tech Center the first week in September. So I will, hopefully you will not be dark on the day after Labor Day, and I will join you that day, so that all of you that really prefer not seeing me could take that day off. And also, please, Madam President, would you and your board please seriously consider a donation to the Rotary Rose Parade Float Committee? Okay, I'm a member of the committee. I will be the committee chair starting January 15th. Anybody that's ever had decorating the float on their bucket list, please contact me. You have a friend in the float business, and I would be happy to accommodate you.
Thank you, Randy. And I'm sure most of us have never had a friend in the float business, so now we have the hookup. So please see Randy if you're interested in that, and we will consider that. Thank you, Randy. Do we have any other visitors? I see at least one more.
Good morning, I'm Rob Johnston, and I'm actually in transition. I was with the Evergreen Rotary Club, no longer anymore, and very much interested in this club. And so I've been here once before, yes, yeah. And it's an exciting group, and I really thank you for your warm hospitality.
Great, thanks, Rob, for coming. We appreciate you being here. Sure. Yeah, Trip, get on that. So celebrating birthdays this week, we have Ken Hope on the 19th. Happy birthday early. We have a spouse birthday, Lori Overton's spouse, Michael Overton, on the 22nd. We have wedding anniversaries, the 18th, Mary Alice and Charlie. 54 years. So congratulations, that's awesome. And on the 21st, Patrick and Angela McGuire. If you haven't heard from Patrick or talked to him lately, please reach out to him. He's still a member, and so we would like to continue to keep him informed of what's going on. I'll be talking to him this week as well. So now, club business and updates. Beer sales. How did it go?
You know, Eric did.
Hey, Eric Nelson is in charge of it, but I did get a summary from him.
Okay.
And the beer sampler coupons sold out, which is great because we get everything over $5,000. So the revenue from that was like $6,700, $6,400, something like that. So we made just $1,400 on that part. And he seems to think that we're going to be somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000 for the Brew and Coup, which is a record.
Wow.
So
that's great.
yeah,
Great.
They did a great job. They really did.
Great. Thanks. I will be sure to thank Eric. And if you see him and anyone else that volunteered, just be sure to say thank you, because that money is really important for our projects. Peach sales. Deb, did you have anything to say about that right now, or? I know you've been traveling, so.
Yeah. But I sold a box while I was gone. I want you to know. No, is anybody having problems selling? That's a real problem. Okay.
I had about 22 people on my list, and no one's responded.
Okay, then come see me, because I have some ideas. I expect everybody to at least sell one box, if for no other reason, to yourself. You know, that's a given, because right there we have, you know, we're inching towards that. I want to make this a bigger, better peach sale than we've ever had. If you're going to go to the effort to do a fundraiser, make it a good one. And it's really easy to sell peaches. So if anybody's having a problem, let me know, and let's come up with some ideas where we can get the numbers up.
Great. Don, do you want to add?
For the peach sales, on the last newsletter is the form for peach sales. It's the very last page of the newsletter. attached to it was the spreadsheet, but it's as a PDF. And so this week, John Peterson is going to try and post the peach sales spreadsheet on the website, and I'm going to try and mail it out to everybody as an Excel spreadsheet, not as a PDF, so that it'll automatically do the calculations for you and whatnot. So.
We have a problem, though, because the contact is Jeannie. So there's no space to put in your own contact information.
And we sent out the empty one the week before. The empty ones come out. And the PDF you're going to try to do, most of this group in here, they print it out and they handwrite it in and turn it into Barb, and this year it'll be Deb, but they don't fill it out on the computer. You guys all handwrite it in. So you can do it either way. But Barb's going to take those and redo it anyhow into her spreadsheet. She does, so.
Okay, my offer still applies. If you want a yard sign that says order your peaches here or something like that, okay, just email me and I'll bring them all next week, okay? But, I mean, if you have a yard, it might help, okay?
Good point. All right. Is Tom Gross here? Okay. So we have the opioid medication take back on August 3rd, 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. I haven't heard back. I've asked him if he needs volunteers for anything. I will be there from 10:30 to 11:30, but we will get out that information to you if he needs any volunteers or anything else for help with that. But please, if you have medication that needs to be disposed of, please come during that time and support the drive. Diana was going to do an update on state of our city. However, she is apparently going to Hawaii right now. So we will have to wait until she gets back. Do we have any other announcements before we do new member inductions? Ann?
I intended last night to send out invitations to all my very faithful people with Meals on Wheels. And by the way, we can all clap because Meals on Wheels has found a new home. And it's a restaurant that I only went to once in 20 years, but I do know where it is. It'll be handy, and they have, of course, have a commercial kitchen. But I will be sending out invitations to all my team members, and please, for August, and please sign up. Thank you. The Delicia restaurant, which is at Arapahoe and Broadway. It's a old Mexican place. Does it say now, Meals on Wheels?
Well, that's great news.
So next week when I think I'm scheduled for, or 2 weeks.
No, we still got the old place.
Okay.
All right. Anyone else?
John, no change until maybe December. Okay.
Kent?
Just a reminder, this Friday is the board meeting for the foundation. It will be at 5:30, and it's here at the Embassy Suites.
Great. Thanks, Kent. Foundation board meeting. Anyone else? Business? John?
And Ken, I did make the effort yesterday to go on the King Soopers website and change my affiliation to the club. It was a little difficult to find, but when I got there, it all worked out fine. So it's not real tough. Even I can do it.
And there's an ID that you can input. It's BP238.
Right.
So you can input that when you go under community on your account. I did that last night as well because I was like, oh, I should probably do that. So
Yeah, the report I got over the weekend from King Soopers said there are 3 families signed up, and we earned $89. So, but $89.
to start.
So, but that's only 3. There are only 3 signed up as of the report date, which was the end of the month,
Okay.
June 30th. So, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
So we've had a few more sign-ups, so just be sure to go in and connect your King Soopers card to the Centennial Rotary Foundation. Again, that code is BP238, and it's pretty simple to do.
B as in boy or B as in Victor?
B as in boy, or blue, or beyond, bravo.
British Petroleum.
British. Yes, exactly. All right. So we've got some great news. We have Kathy Jansky coming up as a new member. So why don't you go ahead and come up. All right. So.
Do I have to wait through here?
No, we're gonna dive through here, I guess. Is the pin in there? Lapel pin? Yeah. Okay, good. Great. So I'm going to go ahead and read our member induction. Fellow Rotarians, it is the duty of our Rotary Club to add new members from time to time, so that we may not only increase our usefulness and influence to the club, but also to extend the spirit of Rotary throughout the community. Today, I welcome to our ranks and admit to membership Kathy Jansky. Rotarian Kathy Jansky, you have been elected to membership in this club because your fellow members believe you to be a worthy representative of your calling, and also to possess qualities that will permit you to exemplify the true spirit of Rotary in your public, business, social, and private life. I wish to impress upon you that you have been admitted not only to the Rotary Club of Centennial, but also to a worldwide association, and by virtue of your membership in this club, you will be welcomed into the fellowship of any Rotary Club in the world. The honor and privilege of Rotary membership carries with it duties and obligations. You will be expected to attend the club's meetings regularly, to perform your share of club service, and to place your knowledge and talents at the disposal of the club in its task of carrying the principles of Rotary into the daily life of the community. I ask all members to please rise. Rotarian Kathy Jansky, in the name of the Rotary Club of Centennial, I now formally admit to you membership in this club and affix to your lapel our emblem. Do that.
I actually have a lapel today.
Yay! Maybe. There we go. Fellow Rotarians, I commend to you our newest member, Rotarian Kathy Jansky, and charge all of you to welcome her. And here is your red badge, and you will have a checklist of things to do that will get you your blue badge.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Welcome to the club.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes.
You said it all.
You said it all. Well, now, Tripp, do you want to stay up here?
Yes, of course
Now, once you get your red badge, then you move on into your blue badge. And so, Scott, we would love to present to you Fast Tracker. All right, so now I didn't see any formal presentation for blue badges. Okay, so the presentation is, voila. Welcome. Full-fledged member now.
This is usually when you take a few minutes to say how awesome your mentor was.
Right, exactly.
It's just, tradition, but don't be held down by tradition.
We will remove.
If it was the first thing on his mind, he would have said it.
All right. Dun dun ah. Congratulations, Scott. Well, it's great to have new members and members working towards their blue badges. It's always important to know that membership is vital for the health of a club. So bringing in new members is something I'm really excited about. So thank you, Kathy, for coming in. We welcome you with open arms. And Scott, you've really dived in and have added your personality to the mix of this crazy crew, and we appreciate you. So moving on, We have travel gifts, perhaps. Barb has remembered. All right.
I finally remembered it right before I leave to go on another trip this week. So when I was in Hungary, I got this, which is a bread bowl, and it looks like this while you're storing.
Oh, that's really beautiful.
Hungary's known for their embroidery. However, I think this is probably machine. Is what?
Was that embroidered fabric?
Well, it's a starchy fabric. Yeah, it's fabric.
Don't wash it out.
So then when you're done, you just flatten it all out again.
Wow.
Ah. Beautiful. Thank you, Barb. Any other travel gifts? Deb?
Needless to say, Gordon and I were in Nashville for this past week, and far be it from me to think this is not a drinking club, so I brought you back some Jack Daniels.
I was on 2 trips this last couple of weeks. One to Minnesota, which is not like being in Hungary, and went for a funeral and then for fishing. So it kind of was ended up nice. Spent a little time catching 24-inch northerns and that sort of thing, so it was nice. And we got to spend some time with my brother and sister-in-law who lost a son. Thinking of this group as a non-drinking group also, I also brought back a Minnesota beer, and these little guys are like $5 a can, so I hope somebody enjoys it. I have no idea why Minnesota beer is that expensive. The most famous beer sale in Minnesota is Blue Moose. Guess who makes Blue Moose? Blue Moon? Blue Moon. Okay. Coors. So you can't bring that back if you're in Minnesota. Okay. Also, Nashville. Far be it beyond me to not bring back a guitar player to this club. But this little guy, put it on a wine bottle, and he's got a cute little smile and a bow tie and so on. It's a he. That's a.
It's a long-haired.
He's got a mustache. She. Okay. So anyway, we thought that this would be ideal for something fun for everybody to bid on our thing.
Thank you, Gordon. Any other travel gifts? No? Okay. So, happy bucks.
Madam
Doug?
President?
Yes.
I had the business minute today, and
I totally skipped right on over you.
You kind of blew me off.
I threw you off. Yes.
Peterson. So I thought I'd change up the business minute a little bit. As Randy said, I don't know where he went. You might not have ever had a friend in the float business, but you have a friend in the car business. But I thought, in the spirit of the business minute, I would ask a couple of my clients in 5 words or less to say why they like doing business with me. So let's start with John McCarty.
John makes it easy. I did it in 4.
4, very good. And then Dr. Livingston, I presume.
It was a complete pleasure.
Outstanding. Now, I originally asked David to do a extemporaneous haiku, but he passed on that. So, Cheryl, jump on in if you want to do that.
You did the paperwork.
And next time you're looking for a car, come see me, or call me, or email me. All right, thanks.
Right.
Barb?
Fried chicken liver.
No, just trying to keep it under a minute, but go ahead.
John makes it easy. For me and my kids.
There we go.
All right. Thanks, John. My apologies for skipping you. Apologies. But yes, if you need a car, John is definitely someone to go to. So.
Plus, the used car salesman got the four-way.
Right. So, Doug, you want to do our happy bucks?
Let's see if everybody can be happy today. Let's set a new record. Let's be unanimous. Let's everybody be happy and throw in at least $1 today, if for no other reason that it's summer and a beautiful day. I'll start here. Where's that dollar?
So everyone's supposed to open your wallets, I guess, is what he's saying.
I have $3. One for making it back from Minnesota. Two for I think a very successful trip in Nashville, and we'll tell you about. I'll let Deborah mention that her happy buck, but we have a big happy buck for that one. And third, I had a third reason, and I can't remember what it was. I had to put up with her for a week. No. Anyway, here we go.
And I have a happy 5. In fact, I'm going to stand up for a minute and say this, because least you think we were just down there goofing off. I decided to call the Rotary Club of Nashville. And I got a hold of a gal, because they have not only a full-time person who runs that Rotary Club, but also a part-time person. I got a hold of the part-time person who grabbed another gal. They came over to the hotel, and just so you know, all of you should have known that you were on the radio. Gordon and I were asked not only to go on the radio to promote Rotary, which we did, and we proudly represented the Rotary Club of Centennial, but we also did a blurb on Guitars for the Troops, and it went out across all of the military bases down there, and they are going to help sponsor the project and get it going and get it out. She does a program called the Christmas in July, and we got the full hour of her program.
Yes, good morning. This is my first happy buck. I'm happy to be in the club. Thank you.
All right.
We're happy to have you.
Your Honor.
I don't have $1, but I think it's a beautiful day, and I'm happy to be here.
Oh, here you go.
That's what I said.
Yeah, happy? Oh my goodness.
I have nothing to be happy about.
I have $1 to welcome Kathy.
Charlie, get happy. You got to have $1, right? Come on, get happy. Let's get happy over here. Come on.
I have to welcome Kathy. Now that you're in the club, I don't have to call you Your Honor anymore, so I can just call you Kathy. And second is Randy. Oh, I don't know where in the hell he went. He should be here to get my $1. So it's good to see Randy again.
Randy had to go pick somebody up.
Oh, okay. I'll take it.
All right.
Welcome, Kathy. And Deborah, good for you. That was wonderful. And I'm sorry Randy left, but it's good to see him once in a while.
Once in a while, not too often.
It's great to have another Kathy in the club.
Kathy and John.
I have 3. First, congrats, Scott. Good job. Welcome, Kathy, to the club. And my last buck is my son Eric goes to Young Ryla this weekend, so we're excited to send him off. He's super duper nervous, but because he's like, I don't know anybody. But anyway, we're excited for him to go.
I've got 2. Welcome, Kathy, and then also just happy to officially have the blue badge.
And my happy buck for welcome you, the club welcoming here today. Thank you.
I have one. Happy to be back. I missed a couple weeks because I was on a trip to southern Colorado. 2 trips, actually. Had a great time and forgot my travel gifts, so it'll come next week.
All right. Who's happy over here? Start with you, John.
Yes, this last week, my wife and I took our oldest grandson, our 13-year-old, on a trip to Yellowstone and the Tetons. And I was so busy trying to make sure he was engaged that I forgot to get a travel gift. And this morning, I remembered I was desperate. There was a bottle of wine on the counter. It was open, but there were... But I know how you are. I mean, it'd be like the coasters. You'd all be bringing open bottles of wine, so I decided not to.
If only I could have found the screw top.
I have two, and I want to say, when I was on the river cruise, there was a guy there collecting beer coasters. He was taking them back for his son. My other dollar is I'm leaving Thursday to go to Grand Haven, Scott's hometown. We're taking my 92-year-old mother back there to see her sister-in-law and see everybody one more time, and we're excited to see everybody, so.
$1 for Kathy and Scott, and another $1 for all of us who survived the big rainstorm on Saturday. Turned out to be a blessing, probably. Oh, well, we all, this was Tripp's idea. We all were huddled under, we were getting all these people coming to get our shelter because we had the tent, and so we passed around the tip jar, and we... And everybody was happy to tip $1 or even some $5 to fight polio and not be in the rain.
Good idea.
Good job. It should be a business minute right there.
I have $1 to thank Barb and Roxy for putting together this shopping list that we did last night for Ready, Set, School. Excuse me, we had a lot of fun, and they did a great job with organizing it again this year. Thank you.
John.
I'm looking forward to speaking next week.
Thank you. And another John.
As y'all know, Professor Peterson was up teaching Trout the reasons not to put sharp objects in your mouth. I want you all to know that all of my students graduated with honors, and they are now a member of I Ate a Fly.
And I have two. The first is a happy buck. Cheryl and Barbara and I are happy that we were able to sit at the John table.
Oh, yeah. You ought to be.
It was close. We almost didn't get to sit here. The other is, I hope, Buck, I hope that when I'm on the East Coast in Maine for the next 2 meetings, I'm able to find a travel gift worthy of this club. Probably won't bring a live lobster.
I have two. One is for our new members, and the other is being at the John table.
Yeah. Just for the record, our table is 100%.
Yes, I've noticed that.
Nice. Yeah, what's the John table? And guests.
Just $1 so that we stay at 100%.
I have two. It is awesome. I am so happy for Kathy and Scott, but I'm super happy for Rob. You guys aren't paying enough attention. You're not helping me at all to our prospect over here. And another one for last week. Here's an interesting story. My wife called me. I'm at work. She said our business insurance has expired. Not just running late. It's expired. And our former, you'll see where I'm going with this. Our former agent won't return my calls. She said, "You know anybody?" I said, "I do know someone. Sandra Abeda is in the biz." She called him. I don't think she'd hung up before we had business insurance. So I gotta tell you, that's a glowing recommendation for Sandra Abeda.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh, whoa.
All right, now I do have a buck for our prospective member sitting over there hiding, but we really would like to have you here. And the other buck is, if you haven't gone to one of the beer sales events yet and see how well the millennials are representing themselves there, I really wish you guys would even just show up just to say hello. We had, probably 6 millennials there working? And we got 10 millennials? So they really have taken ownership of the beer sales and done a very, very good job.
I've got $1. I was reminded of something when the Minnesota beer came as a traveling gift, and it reminded me a couple of years ago I was in the state of Utah, and Utah has a lot of Mormons, and the Mormons have certain precepts in their church that they don't drink and smoke and so forth. But I did find out that there is a brewery in the state of Utah, and the signature beer that they offer at that brewery is called Polygamy Porter. Yeah, but the tagline is even better. It says, "Why have just one?"
Hey, John, you're at the wrong table.
Yeah. How do you follow that? Kathy, welcome to the club. That's all I can say. Can't top that.
Okay. And I have two, one for our visitor and our new members, and then I have one for my parents who are celebrating their 50th anniversary on the 20th.
Wow.
So, is that? And then moving on, so we are doing a club assembly today. Oh, John?
Just want everybody to know that Paul Horiuchi fell and hurt his shoulder. And he's not sure if he's going to have surgery or not, but we're passing around a card. If you could all sign that, and we'll give it to him. Thanks.
Great, thanks, John. So we are having a club assembly today, and in the spirit of being communicative of what's going on in the club, we're not going to break down in committees today, kind of like what Tim did last club assembly. We're going to go through a lot of the visioning stuff that we did in June, and then just go over a few other things that have come to the attention of the board that we need to just discuss as a club. Just lock myself in even more. Yeah. So who went to our visioning? Okay, so we got a good portion. There's several people who didn't. So this, for those that went, it's really a review of everything that we went through and kind of how it all culminated. Okay, and I have to say, Diane Zing did this presentation, the visioning results presentation, which I was so thankful for, because then I didn't have to do anything but flip through it and read the slides, which is really nice. So thanks to her. So this is a summary that we put up. There we go. So what was the process for our visioning? You know, the whole idea was to explore our values, passion, priorities, and desires for the future. The way they set it up was, what would we look like as a club in 2022, right? It wasn't, what do we want to do in the future? It was literally, how do we want to be? How do we want to, what projects do we want to do? What kind of fundraising do we want to do in 2022, right? Also, what does our club stand for? How many members do we have in 2022? What are our attributes, qualities, characteristics? What are we accomplishing, whether that's in development, recruitment, retention, etc.? What are the projects we support locally, internationally, and in the different areas of service? Fundraisers. What are we doing and how much do they raise? Now, also, how much are we contributing to the Rotary International Foundation? What are we doing for our foundation, and how much are we invested endowment-wise? And then, of course, our marketing and public image. How do we get our name out there? So these were the questions that were asked at the visioning. So this is a summary of what we kind of went through. What does our club stand for? Now, we had a lot of responses for each one of these questions. Ethics, fun, helping the needy, diverse service projects, community, unity. You know, all of these definitely encompass what Rotary is and what our club does. Our top 3 answers, though, fun, right? In 2022, we want more fun. We want to be more fun. So it means even more fun, right? We're already fun, but adding just a little bit more fun, maybe in our service projects or in our socials, having more socials. Number 2, community involvement. We have a lot of community involvement, but one thing that I noticed as we look at our community involvement, most of them are specific days and times, like Christmas trees is in December, Santa Claus is in December, those kinds of things. Though we do have our Meals on Wheels, which is something that is every week. We also have our food drive, which is quarterly. So it's good that we have these diverse projects, but it's something that this club is really passionate about, is our community involvement. And then the third answer was diverse service projects and strong relationship with local government, right? Question 2, how many members do we have in 2022? So as you can see, it ranges from lower than what we currently have to over 100, right? We have 64 total. That includes 10 satellite members. So we have 54 in this morning club. Number 1 answer is 75. 185. Okay, so however you look at it, it's about growth, right? We want to grow to at least 10 more members, 11 more members, and then see, based on that, where to go from there. What are our attributes as a club? Yeah, we have a lot of them. And the reason is because we have a lot of people, and they all have different attributes, right? Some people are very welcoming. Some, Phil. Committed, talk, kind, open, diverse, caring. But these attributes are what really bring people into our membership. Our top answers, diverse, welcoming, and fun. Now remember, this is what we want to be, even more than what we already are. So our number 1 is we want to be more diverse. We want to have more women. We want to have more people of color, or other ethnicities. We want to have people under 40. I think I may be the youngest person here, which, oh, well, no, yeah, Scott is, okay. Thank you, Scott. But we want to bring in more energy, and having younger people will bring in that energy and new ideas. And as you can see, that's what we really want to do in our future. What are we accomplishing? So remember, in 2022, we are an inclusive and welcoming group. We have shared responsibility, meaning throughout the entire club, not just 20% of the people doing 80% of the work. We have a leadership funnel. So we are brewing people, it sounds like coffee. That's kind of the same thing. You know, helping people move through the Rotary Leadership Institute and in through our committees to learn how to lead in order to be on the board and lead as president, and then possibly do other things on the district. Our top 3 there was inclusive and welcoming. Community participation by all members and using technology consistently. And we're not talking about our audio, video, or our website, but we're talking about how do we, all of us, using technology with signing up more, just being more consistent in utilizing it because we have it available. Okay. Now, what are the projects we support? Job training for youth, projects for the community inclusion, expand scholarships to ACC and high schools. So now these were all the different ideas. And one thing I gathered from this visioning was that we have a lot of ideas. We have a lot of people that have different passions, and it's beautiful to see. You know, and as we kind of whittled down this passion and desire of what our projects should be, number 1, expand Santa Claus to district-wide, right? Number 2, this was a kind of surprising and kind of not, suicide prevention. And the reason why I thought it was a little surprising is because our opioid awareness and education has not gotten a lot of support from our club. And so this kind of brought me to understand that we are interested in mental health, but we need to maybe shift our focus to what our passion really is, which is suicide prevention. This is something that hits home, and opioid awareness and education falls in line with that because a lot of people commit suicide through opioid medication, right? Number 3, Guitars for Troops, and expanding that program and helping Gordon and Deb with that program. Fundraisers in 2022. We still have our State of Our City, a GoFundMe page, Colorado Gives, a Centennial Fair, peach sales, beer sales, holiday party, concert series. Again, a lot of great ideas. Top 3, our main one still, State of Our City. So that means we really want to hone in with the relationship with our city to make sure that no matter who the mayor is, they will want to have State of Our City, right? So that is one of the priorities that we will need to be making in the next few years. It's just making sure that that communication and that connection is always there. Number 2, a concert series. Now, this is something that I know that Tim has even looked into, is having a concert series with the Embassy Suites maybe on Fridays, and having people come kind of have entertainment. People will pay for tickets and just enjoy music and maybe a late lunch or something like that. So that's one of the ideas, and a lot of people really appreciated that idea.
Gordon.
Yeah, Gordon and Tim, yeah. Gordon is the man. Thank you. And number 3, peach sales and wine, chocolate, and cheese tasting. So we don't really know the background behind wine, chocolate, and cheese tasting, but it sounds pretty darn good to me, so I am there. Peach sales, this is about really expanding it into, maybe even adding pears as well, or how do we expand the way that we sell or distribute anything. So those are some of the items that our visioning has really thought about fundraisers. Okay, how much are we contributing to the Rotary International Foundation? I know we don't really talk too much about the Rotary International Foundation. On a consistent basis, we're talking a lot about our own foundation. But this is about what we do to support Rotary International. We want 100% Paul Harris Fellows, 6,000 to end polio event, 200 per member per year. These are some items that, people who understand how the Rotary International Foundation works, they know that doing things like this really supports our club. So for those who do not know, any money that is put into the Rotary International Fund in the shared fund also comes back to the district in 3 years. And so then it can be used for our district grants, etc. So it's not just going to Rotary International. It's going to Rotary International, they utilize it, and then they give it back to us. So it's almost like a 2-for-1. Okay? So the top answer for Rotary International fundraising, we want 100% Paul Harris Fellows within our club membership. Now, how do we do that? It's not just about funds. We have Paul Harris points. We have different ways of getting 100% Paul Harris Fellows. So this is just one item that we will be looking at as how to strategically get people to be a Paul Harris Fellow. Right, so how much are we contributing to our club foundation in 2022? These answers were $150K in the corpus, $50K in corporate sponsorships, reimbursement for international travel expenses, etc. So our number one answer is we want to have $50,000 in corporate sponsorships. So I know Diane knows a lot more about that than I do. If she was here, I would have her speak about it. But that's something that in our visioning in the next 3 to 4 years, we will be looking at how do we incorporate that into our fundraising. Now this is my favorite subject, marketing and public image. One thing about Rotary is that we're not very well represented publicly, in the sense that people don't really know who we are, right? Unless we tell them. Some people have still these old myths about who we are, and we want to be out there changing what people know about Rotary, especially about Rotary Club of Centennial. So for marketing and public image, we have all these great ideas, including a breakfast invite. Members wear Rotary pins always, which, yes. Partnership with the chamber, club brochure to distribute, etc. So a lot of great ideas here. Top 3 answers: active use of social media and website, which we're doing great with the website. And what we need to do is have training on how to take what's on the website and put it on Facebook and put it on Instagram and put it on Twitter, or get people signed up with these different social media accounts if they don't have one, and have people sharing things. Number 2, Rotary signs at Centennial entry points. Now I have heard that this has been difficult in the past. I don't know too much of the history, but it's always something maybe we can look into again. And I know Randy's not here to let us know what that was about. And then 3, members wear Rotary pins everywhere, which I think we need to encourage. It's one way that people just ask us, what's Rotary? And we are here because we want to serve people. We want to help the world become better. And we have this community that is amazing. So why would somebody not want to be in Rotary, right? And by wearing our pen, we communicate that we are confident and proud of who we are, what we do here in Rotary. So after all of this, for those who weren't there, we had a lot of dots that we played with. We had to single out kind of our top priorities amongst all of those things that we discussed. So number 1 in fundraising, state of our city. So finding ways to expand it, to increase it, to change it in ways that will bring in more money, and of course establish that better relationship with the city. Number 2, in-club service, to be inclusive and welcoming, right? This is something that's really dear to my heart. It's one of the reasons why I started the Diverse Perspectives Book Club. We are already have over 26 people outside of Rotary signed up, and about, I think, 8 people are actually signed up to go to one of the discussions. So it's, for me, that's one way to bring in potential new members, but really begin discussing this idea of inclusiveness and this having a welcoming atmosphere. But that was number 2 answer. And number 3, of course, suicide prevention. So, who do we want to be in 2022? What I got out of this, and I'd love to get your feedback. 1, we are a club that provides impactful service. Suicide prevention is not something that you can go into lightly. It's something that is dear to all of our hearts because Colorado is very high in suicide. We've all been affected by it. Our alliance with Arapahoe High School and all that they've been through, it's something that it's going to be impactful. No matter how many people we serve with that, even one person who decides to reach out for help is impacted, and that creates impactful service. And so as part of that, one of my thoughts is to look at actually training, how to spot the signs, training for educators, training for parents, training for business. I've been looking at different foundations to see their training programs and see how we can be a part of it. So it's something that, as a club, anything suicide prevention, if you have ideas on that, please let me know. I know a lot of you, this is a dear subject. So number 2, creates an inclusive and diverse atmosphere for membership and projects. One of the benefits of Rotary is that we have diverse projects. It's not just water projects. It's not just flower power. It's not just food drive, right? We're not just building a home. This to me was one of the benefits of Rotary, because even though the projects are diverse, we still have this focus of impacting the community. And that is really what we as a club are, and we want to get behind, is really making that diversity in projects something that members can also bring in other members to and say, you know, we're not Habitat for Humanity. Yes, they highly impact people in the housing and other areas in that way, but we do all these different things. So you can find what your passion is. Because I don't know about you, but I have struggled with my own passion. And it wasn't until I was at PET's President-elect Training Seminar last year that I really found out what I was passionate about, and that was peace and diversity. And ever since then, I've been thinking of ways to get highly involved in that area, whether it's bringing something to the club or getting involved into a nonprofit outside. But Rotary can help bring in that passion if you don't know what that is, or if your passion changes. So I think diverse projects are essential to that. And that also brings in diverse members. Now, we also want to be a club that brings a spirited, right, and fun approach to Rotary. We've all been to those club meetings, and maybe this is one of them, I'm not sure, where we're like, okay, just ring the bell, I'm really tired. But we need to find different ways to really engage members, because we're spending this time here, right? And we have 20 minutes, so I can still blabber quite a bit. No. But it's really about engagement. We have people coming. This is when we can really engage people. So I love Happy Bucks. I love that we do club updates, but what else can we do to make it a little lively and fun? I mean, I can put on, a banana suit, but it's really not my style. We'll have Mark do that, Mark Garfinkel. I think that's more up his alley. So one of the reasons why I wanted to go through all the visioning is, besides letting you know how the visioning went, and we're still working with the district on creating goals for the visions through visioning and coming out with an action plan. But in the past, club assemblies have been about committee structure and breaking down into committees, into youth and international, vocational, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I want to raise hands, or maybe not, maybe I'll just raise my hand. How many have found those to be highly effective? Highly effective. Okay. Mostly because 25 minutes every quarter is not effective amount of time to plan goals and vision for areas of service, right? So this is where you guys get to respond and interact with me, and I'll stop taking the whole time. But I really want to know this committee structure, some ideas. How can we improve these committees? And do we still need all of them? Tim?
Well, I think one of the first things is that if you're going to serve on a committee, you need to make a commitment of time. And I'm thinking at least an hour to 2 hours a month to get together and meet and come up with an agenda, come up with some goals and objectives that can be presented to the board, and then follow up. And subcommittees, of course, we have to have people get things done. But I think that if you're going to be on the committee, you need to make that time commitment.
Okay. Now, for those that are relatively new, our committee structure, and please anyone correct me if I'm incorrect. The original aspect of this was each of these areas, club, service, international, vocational, community, youth, and fundraising, excuse me, would have a committee. Each of those committees would work on those aspects of service, right? But then the chair of that committee would report to the board what was going on. And so there was at one point an expectation that the chair would possibly go then to be on the board of directors after they served as chair. Anyone else have any other insight into our committee structure? Is that pretty much, John?
Well, it's been fluid.
Fluid.
At one point, it was suggested when Nicole Davies came in to be set up like that you had to be on a committee in order to move into the board and so forth. Prior to that, it really wasn't the case. But what I saw in my year, it wasn't terribly effective because some projects can be done really without a committee as long as they've got someone acting as the driving force, and some like Santa Claus, State of the City, so forth, you need a committee. You need more structure and more organization. So my take on it was continue to be fluid, and if we've got a big project that needs a committee, then form a committee. If you've got a small one that can be just kind of an ad hoc, throw it together, then run with that. Do what's most efficient. Don't try and force the committee structure into a project that doesn't need it.
I recall, it might have been John's year that, or maybe it was Randy's year, we started using the word champion. So it was a champion, you had a project, big or small, we were relying on the champion for that project to push it through more than a committee or a committee chairman or something like that. I thought that was pretty effective. If it's a good enough project for us to consider, then it's good enough for, you to be the champion or you to come in and say, who's with me? That kind of, I like that feel, rather than sign up for my committee.
All right. Ken?
We were kind of struggling with the committee structure last year. I was chair of the Community Service Committee, and there was a lot of community service projects that were kind of out there, and we weren't quite sure just how effective they were and what kind of club involvement that we had. And so we formed our own little subcommittee, and David and Mary Alice and Dinah Y and Karen around the committee, and we kind of set out to review each one of our service projects, and David came up with the idea of developing a matrix in terms of determining the effectiveness of each committee, and we're in the process of doing that right now. And we do have many, many projects, and we do have champions for each one of those projects. And so we're trying to review each one of those service projects to determine if they need to be improved. Do we need to tweak them? Do we need to get rid of them? Do we need to expand them? And we're working on that right now, and we'll report to the board on that. The second thing that our Community Service Committee was thinking about was fitting right into your outreach to the community. So our task informally was to determine who we would reach out to in the community to see what the Rotary Club would do for them. And so we targeted the city, we targeted South Suburban, and we targeted the school districts, and we're early on in determining how we can be of assistance to those particular organizations. So I think the committee structure is, needs to be worked on a little bit, I think, and I think we need to determine exactly what you're saying, whether we need all the committees or not, and whether or not the Community Service Committee needs to be divided. We have like 10 or 11 or 12 community service projects throughout the year that we're involved in, and it goes back to what Tripp was talking about. We do have to have a champion for each one of those projects, and that's part of our matrix to determine the champion and whether or not it's ongoing or once a year, and how much money is involved to fund each one of those projects and the impact on the community. So we're working on that right now, and hopefully Tim was aware of that, and you were aware of that, and Diana Y is going to be on the committee as well, so hopefully we can kind of work towards tweaking this and perhaps effectively communicating to all of our members what our particular service projects do.
Right. Great. Thanks. Cheryl?
One of the things that, as a member now for 5 years, it took me about 3 years to understand what a committee was. In each of the years I was, the first 3 years. And I got the impression, I still have the impression, that these committees have been set up by Rotary International. That you need to have an administrative committee. You have to have a committee for service or administration or whatever the item or the subject might happen to be. And then I came to the club assemblies, and you were to be on a committee that day that you might have been assigned to or didn't even know you were part of. And so I think there needs to be some education when you are a brand new member, part of the Red Badge perhaps, that there are various committees, for whichever ones we choose to keep, and which ones do you feel your talents, your time, and your treasure could be devoted towards? Because I, for example, have the gift of administration. I enjoy that, but should I be meeting regularly, once or twice a month or quarterly with a committee on administration? Don't know that. So I really don't know the effectiveness of these committees, because I would agree that on a Tuesday morning, 25 minutes of putting this together is not sufficient time. Right. But at the same time, I think we need to have commitment by our Rotarians to say, I am part of a committee and I'm willing to get involved, because we have Pareto's principle, 80-20, I think, right now, working on these various committees. Right. So I do think they need to be revamped, and I do think we need to have a greater education.
Okay. Thank you, Cheryl. So I do need just a few more comments, and then I still have a few things I need to do. Mary Alice?
Excuse me. I just want to speak to the importance that I think we should put on keeping that entire committee structure that's on the screen. Those committees are set up by Rotary International, and I think we need to make sure that we have participation, maybe not at the same level in each committee, but to make sure that we still have involvement in all those different activities. For instance, vocational seems to be a committee and an area of Rotary that often gets overlooked that's very important. And I think if you lump that in with something else or take it out, then we lose the involvement in that area. So I think we really need to keep all of those committees, but we maybe don't need the same number of people on each one. Some of them are, for instance, the community service has a lot more daily, weekly, monthly involvement than, say, a vocational service. But we do need to keep those all together.
Right. Thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and move on, but afterwards, if you have something, please come to me. I'm more than happy to stay and hear you. So this is just, I found this, and I think either John or Tim did this, or Karen, kind of the goals of each of the current committees and ways to serve. I'm just going to briefly go through the goals of each one based on the 2015 visioning. So administrative. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. I'll just go through the first goal, but these are all goals and ways to serve as decided upon in 2015. So the first one for administrative is holistic approach to member training to develop confident leaders both in the club and translating into personal professional lives. Okay. International, focus on current international projects and strong support for Rotary Youth Exchange. Youth, quarterly events or projects with Rotary youth groups, RILA, quarterly activities with Satellite, increase RILA scholarships to 12. Vocational, professionals from all industries rely on ethical expertise, creating a skills database, teach four-way values. Fundraising, state of the city, increasing beer sales, possibly have a lottery fundraiser. Community service, having an activity center for those over 55. Hey, we did that. Child Hunger Project, expand Santa Claus to all clubs in district, which we're working on. So changes to committees. One thing that I've discussed with the board, and Mary Alice, it's funny that you raised the vocational committee because I was chair of that for 2.5 years. And the buy-in from the club for vocational projects is low, very, very, very low. We implemented Business Minute, which I think is great. That's one thing that we've done. And then we implemented quarterly mixers, which kind of then fizzled out because no one was attending. So if we don't have the buy-in from the club for a committee, I don't think we should have it, but we should still have service in that area based on where perhaps that service would look better. So my thought is to go ahead and dissolve the vocational committee for this year, but add a new membership committee. That membership committee is headed by Tripp. And then also do expectations of committees. And that's something that I want to work on to figure out, okay, what do these committees really need to be doing and how often? And because if we don't have expectations, committees don't have the expectations set, they can't meet them. And then, we need these goals, et cetera. So that's one direction that I am headed this year. Okay. So last, and our favorite thing that we want to talk about today, that's why I gave it 5 minutes, so there's no questions. So our budget. So, the presidents and treasurer have the lovely task of budgeting for forecasting for the year. Now, the last 3 years, the bottom line at the end of the year, 2016, we had a net income of over $3,700. 2017, we were over budget by $1,677, and last year we were over budget by $2,755. Now, one thing that's happening is our meal has increased. Okay, we have $19.54 per meal. If everyone was highly engaged and came to every single meeting we have, that's $977 a year. Plus international dues, $90 a year, and district dues, $45. No. This is a year per person. Per person. Because it's $19.54 per 50 weeks. It's $977. Per person, yeah. Per person, yes. So total is $1,112 per year with perfect attendance. Now, granted, very few people make perfect attendance. However, our quarterly dues are $230 per quarter. Our income is only $920. There's a difference of $192. Now, granted, we could just tell people you can't come for 11 meetings and we'll be good. But we, right? But we want engagement. So a few things that came up here. This year, so we won't be raising dues this year. I'll give that option to Diana. But some of the things that we are doing to see how this works and see if we can keep dues at the same, shifting costs to the foundation that are appropriate. For example, Student of the Month awards, all of the meals of the student and the parents, those meals will be shifted to the foundation. Our Christmas party will be a potluck. The club will furnish the meat, but then everyone else will do a potluck. Now the fundraiser, the Thanksgiving fundraiser, because last year, remember, we had one. It was the holiday party, and this year we're splitting it. We're doing a fundraiser and then a holiday party. The fundraiser is going to be run like State of the City. So if you want to participate, you will need to pay for your meal, just like State of the City. And then in order to help balance the budget for this year and not have to raise dues, we are going to implement a chat group meeting every 5th Tuesday starting in October. So that means October 29th, March 31st, and June 30th, we will all be meeting in our individual chat groups and not here at the Embassy Suites. This allows us a little bit more social time. It allows the chat groups a day and time that most people normally already have open. So then it'll be the responsibility of the leader of that chat group to decide where to meet on those days, but you don't have to determine a date and a time. Okay, so that is what we're doing this year in order to ensure that we have a balanced budget. And moving forward, some of the ideas that have come up and things that I'll be sending out a survey probably within the next week or two with different questions, not only about committees, but about the budget. But one, shifting fundraising of peaches and beer sales to club funds instead of to foundation funds. That will help us not only get a reserve, help us keep Rotary dues the same, but also it will help us possibly help people with traveling internationally, and as well as district leadership events and attending those. Number 2 is raising dues. No one likes to do it, but based on kind of the numbers you saw, it may be something we need to do in the future, so either $5 or $10 per quarter. And then, of course, we can continue next year and further on chat group days, like I've implemented this year, or we can add dark days. So these are just some ideas that are coming. Like I said, I'm going to put out a survey, so then that way we can get some of your feedback, because this is your club. Like, the leadership is here to make the best decisions for the club, but your input is very important to me. And so I always welcome the communication, your concerns, any ideas that you have. So please see me if you have questions or you need anything. Any questions? We are done. Except for Blue Marble. Gordon.
Can I make one more?
Sure.
I thought of the third Happy Buck dollar that I want to mention. We were invited by the Niwot Rotary Club, we meaning our music group, to perform in the Longmont Jazz Festival, which is this coming Saturday. And so they are providing us with a booth and a banner and all sorts of things at their expense, which is nice. Hopefully Deborah will be able to play. And we have a trio that will be playing at the Jazz Festival all Saturday. I'd like to invite you up to participate. It's going to be from 1 o'clock in the afternoon till 9 o'clock at night.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gordon.
Oh, it's in Longmont Main Street. I should tell you where it is. But it's downtown Longmont. We're going to be on the 5th and Main.
5th and
Did
Main?
I miss? That's a Saturday.
Isn't that a song?
Yes.
All right, club. David, do you have our drawing? How about one of our guests? Why doesn't Rob draw?
Yeah.
Yes. So,
Reel him in.
yeah, that's right.
Quite a bit of pressure.
Yes, I know.
You
better hurry up and put in your membership application.
Well, I'm paid to do this. Just so you feel safe.
Yeah.
You do have a license.
I
358.
Woo!
Thank you very much. Thank you.
We did $30 out of it.
All right, Mayor Alice, I think it's what, $5 pot right now?
$6.50.
Oh, $6.50, yep.
$6.50.
Yeah, six.
Using, Mary Alice, as an example, in order to get lunch money, you have to buy tickets.
Hint, hint. So next week.
Explanation for how the system works. Okay. Actually, thanks for playing.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for your attention and your feedback. Again, more will be coming your way with more. So please stand for the four-way test for all we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it build confusion to all concerned?